Oh, it's you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 76, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books, fly my pretties, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me today is the Wicked Witch of the West herself.
The wickedly talented Anth0z. It is me, Anth0z. Hello.
Hi, Anth0z. How you doing?
Good. I want to look up exactly what he says, because the way he says it, it's just so
Wickedly talented.
like some
Anth0z.
But it sounds like a lot of what he. It almost it seems like the rest of the English he can't actually say.
The way he says it, it's like he just unapologetically says it. Like he just knows he's wrong and doesn't care.
Yeah. Oh, it's the wickedly talented one and only Anth0z. Oh, poor guy.
It's so wrong.
Oh boy.
And like now that Idina Menzel is like more well known than she was back then.
Yeah.
It's like it's just really funny. Just like Anth0z. Like, not even close.
And I'm pretty sure we talked about it, but there's a Anth0z generator or John Travolta
Oh, yeah,
generator,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
She's wickedly talented, but not well known.
Maybe more so. Well, okay, maybe it depends on what, I guess, like what industry you're in or what kind of stuff you follow.
Oh, I just mean if she was well known, then he would have the name.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think because that was probably one of her biggest or like debut for mainstream kind of, or silver screen, not mainstream, because I mean Broadway, that's pretty mainstream, but
That's
you
true.
have to be somebody who actually like pays attention to Broadway.
She was, I don't know how popular she was, but she was in Glee as well.
She was in Glee.
She played a big role in that, and that was before Frozen when those episodes were big. So she must have been like known to TV and Broadway.
Yeah,
and that was about it.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe she decided like she wanted to have some sort of, or like after Broadway she wanted to go more of like the on-screen route, and so then Glee was probably one of the stepping stones towards Frozen. But she played the mother of Rachel something. Rachel was one of like the lead girls.
Yeah.
So she played her mom. I remember that.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the Scumm Bar
hey,
Podcast.
episode 76.
This, believe it or not, this happens to be our Halloween-themed episode, which is why we're talking about Idina Menzel, who played the Wicked Witch of the West in the show Wicked.
I was gonna say Idina Menzel played Anth0z in the Grammys.
In the Grammys, she had the part of Anth0z. And anyways, so this is our Halloween-themed episode. We are releasing this right around the time of Halloween, hopefully for you guys.
Yep,
And,
give or take.
Give or take a few weeks. And so we figured we're going to just kind of theme it as that. We're going to go through the news and all the basic stuff as well. But Anth0z, instead of saying what's new with you, I'm going to say, what are you do for Halloween? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Do I have to answer that in some sort of rhyme scheme?
No,
because I would not be able to. As of now, we don't have any set plans. I think I don't normally go out of my way to make plans for Halloween. I think because I've always just been fortunate enough to like somebody else has something planned.
Right.
So the other friends will be like, "Hey, this is happening. You want to go?" I'm like, "Sure." Last year, what did I even dress up as? I feel like I just wore my onesie because I forgot to think of it like some sort of costume. And I also did not think of a costume this year. And yeah. So long story short, on Saturday, I'm going to live as if it's a normal Saturday.
Ooh.
Pretty much so far. Unless something comes up. It'd be nice if something did, but nothing's set so far. How about you? What do you do this Halloween?
Mine's not too different. My fiance and I were going to be getting ready for, I'm assuming some kids are going to be coming by. So we're going to put out the bowl of candy and have it ready for the kids to get and take. There's been talk of all the school kids doing Halloween around our neighborhood. So
okay.
And we have our dog Kova, obviously, so we're going to get her used to the kids coming to the door and taking the candy, and we're going to try to make it so she's not barking at them and going crazy.
Yeah. Did you get her a costume?
No, we're not. I haven't thought about any kind of dressing up, and I probably won't do any dressing up.
Okay, I have an idea.
It would have been
kind
of cute.
I have an idea for you specifically for Kova. I'll mention it later.
Okay. A shark would be good. I think that'd be very appropriate.
Oh, that'd be cute.
But yeah, I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so I happen to have a friend from Vancouver who's moving to the island, and they happen to be moving in Halloween night. How spooky!
Oh.
So they need a bunch of help to move stuff, which we don't really. I'm not able to help right when they're there, which is like 5-6, but. So sometime later on the night, I'm going to stop with the Halloween candy for the kids and then head down there to help with the move. So,
okay.
Yeah, even though it's Halloween, it does feel like you said, it feels like a regular day without any plans. Mm-hmm. It kind of feels like that this year. It's going to be kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's like a typical Saturday, in my opinion.
Yeah, which I guess, like, I almost feel like it's likely that'll be the case for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so.
Because because of COVID, because, that... I feel like, okay, so for us, I feel like it's kind of just slowed down our motivations for just like making plans as a whole because it just nowadays things just seem so unpredictable, and then things end up being kind of like last minute. It's easier to plan as opposed to planning ahead of time and then having to worry about like, oh, is this even going to work kind of thing.
Right.
That's why that's why I said some things are not. We've heard about some potential plans, but nothing is set. Like, if we wanted to get together, do some pumpkin carving, but then like how many of us can actually get together in one place? And then also if we want, I heard that there's a couple cool, there's a blueberry patch or some sort of berry patch. I've never done a corn maze, but I don't know if I want to go into a corn maze these days because like you'd be stuck with a whole bunch of other people that might not stay far away from you and things like that. So yeah. But also I kind of feel like at the same time, because at least here in BC, things are going to be changing starting November 1st in terms of our like kind of health suggestions and recommendations, and that I feel like people are going to want to get in their hanging out time, like being outside time as much as they can before that happens. Maybe. Yeah,
it's possible. I could see that
times
happening.
are changing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Halloween's a little bit different this year. It's gonna be different, but hey, that's a good excuse for all of us to stay in and watch some horror movies and just get our regular Halloween fix, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's kind of what Halloween has been for me for the last couple of years, is just watching the Halloween movie or Friday the 13th and stuff, and then Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice and Hocus Pocus and all the good classics.
Yeah.
So that's something about doing again this year. I haven't watched any yet, actually, which is kind of sad. Although my fiance and we watched It and It Part 2.
Oh,
so
nice.
That was good. Yeah.
It's
fun to watch. We watched them back to back, which is nice too.
The original or the newest?
No, the two from 16 and 19.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that was fun to go through. I like that.
Nice. I don't remember the last Halloween movie that I watched on Halloween, but I feel like this time because I don't know what day of the week it was last year. But this year it's a Saturday, so it's like the best kind of day to have a Halloween, because then you don't have to worry about like coming home from work late, and then like you got the whole day to do whatever it is you want to do to plan for the day. So I feel like I should use that time to pick some movies and watch them for once.
Get some Halloween candy and watch some Halloween movies.
Yeah. Okay. So
there's no reason why you can't.
Yeah. True. I was actually just thinking. I feel like if I were like my 10-year-old self, but with the knowledge that I know now and the technology that I know now, is that I would have, with my Amazon Prime membership, ordered candy from like 30 different like sellers yesterday, or sorry, not yesterday, but like the day before Halloween, so that that way, like with my Prime like 1 day shipping, they all arrive on Halloween, and I go to the door dressed up. And so it's almost like I'm like,
it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. But like, so I would have different people coming to my place giving me candy. And it's like I'm opening the door as if I'm the one that's like saying trick or treat. Well, I mean, I guess I'll say trick or treat, but I'm getting the candy.
I like that. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So that could be somebody's plan.
You reversed Halloween.
Yeah.
You played that Uno card.
Reverse Halloween. The new Niewalo.
Oh, Niewalo. New Wallow's Eve.
I like it.
All right, so Anth0z, let's get into ye old news. What's going on in the news today?
Oh, I should have mentioned. So, a friend of mine was like, "Wow, you're at 75 already. Where's the merch?" I'm like, "Oh, merch. Have we talked about merch before?" I don't know. I don't know if we're big enough for merch yet, but
I did on Redbubble. I put up our logo kind of as a lark, just to kind of see what it would look like.
Yeah. I think you mentioned that like kind of towards the beginning of our inception. Did you not? Yeah,
it was just like for fun, just to see what we would look like. So if I type in the Scumm podcast, this is also an ad right now, by the way.
Wait, where did you list it again?
Oh, that's funny. It's not really on there right now. Redbubble was the website I used. I'm seeing only the iPad case on there, so I have a feeling. Oh no, there's a T-shirt. I can send you a link.
Scumm.
So we seem to have a T-shirt on there, but it's actually our old. Well, it's kind of our old logo. It's not really like the same coloring.
Let's see.
That's the T-shirt. So you go to Redbubble. I've got a Mattbrush Gaming account on there where I was putting random things on for stickers and whatnot.
Nice.
And then there's Mattbrush Gaming stuff. But then there's the Scumm podcast logo, which is on the T-shirt.
We have reviews for our shirt?
No. That's
just like...
That's a demo showing you.
Oh, okay.
That's reviews for their shirt, actually.
Oh, so exactly what I wanted. Great product. Oh, these stock responses.
That's not us. No, nobody's bought a shirt. I don't even own a shirt for this. But yeah, so that was the Scumm podcast shirt. But again, that's kind of our logo, but also not really. So maybe one day we'll get merch.
Cool.
It'll say, "What's new with you?"
Yeah. What would it say?
Or ye old news on the back.
Do we have like catch things? It would just say "oa." I feel like that's all it would say.
Yeah,
just
exactly. Oa. Are you oa?
Oh yeah, the front would say "Are you or are you not?" and on the back would say "Anak."
Anak. Yeah, it would. Or a delta Z. It's like a bunch of E's.
Really, our phrases are just things that other people have said, but we're just taking them.
Random things people say that we just happen to say a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. Anyway, sorry. So let's get into ye old news now. Let's get into the gritty, nitty news.
Cool. I think I do have news. Do you have news?
I've got a few things, nothing too big. In the film world, the Uncharted movie has started filming. There was a photo of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
That's right. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's just one small snippet. It's really interesting because he looks like a very young Drake, but they've done a good job. He actually does look like Nathan Drake. Well, like way more than I cared to admit. Like I didn't want Tom Holland to play Nathan Drake, but actually I think he looks pretty good.
I think one of my first thoughts when I saw Tom Holland, like I think if I'm thinking the same shot as you, I was automatically thinking, so when is he going to do Indiana Jones?
Oh,
because
yeah,
it just seems like he could. I like the idea of him being like he does some stunts. Like I don't think he did every single stunt he did for himself in the MCU movies, but he does. Like he has a dancing background. He has, I think, somewhat of a tricking, parkour, or maybe even like a gymnast background. So he has some athleticism there, and I feel like that could be kind of a cool fit for an Indiana Jones kind of character, potentially. I mean, like the Indiana Jones we have now, well, technically Harrison Ford, like he wasn't a very, like he was agile to an extent, but not but I think it was fitting for that time. But I feel like if we were to do like a modern skilled kind of person character, I feel like Tom Holland could pull that off.
I think he can, but I don't think we need to. I think we should just leave Indy where he was. He's a great character as he is, and I don't think we need a reboot.
Okay, what about what's his name? What's Even Stevens?
Even Stevens?
What's that guy's name? The actor Shia LaBeouf. There we go.
Oh,
Shia LaBeouf,
yeah,
or whatever. That's
no, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That movie doesn't count. That movie doesn't exist.
Okay, all right. Then we won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not good.
Okay. So yeah, so they started filming. Is there a release date for that yet? For Uncharted?
I don't think there is. No, they just started filming it now. So.
Okay. So maybe like 3 years.
I mean, there might be
2 or 3 years.
Started.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's one of them. That's one of the news.
Nice. So I don't know if you've heard about this, but Disney Plus 616. Have you heard of that?
No. What is that?
Here,
is it Star Wars?
No. Oh, actually, sorry. No, it's not Disney 616. It's Marvel's 616. So here, I'm gonna link you.
Weird.
Right over here. But so it's detailing. It's kind of like more of a behind the scenes kind of look at some of the people who have created characters or have been a part of writing stories for the MCU.
Okay.
So that's going to be a new upcoming, I guess it's like a documentary series by Disney Plus coming in November 20th. So I'll just read a brief synopsis here. But Marvel 616 explores Marvel's rich legacy of pioneering characters, creators, and storytelling to reflect the world outside your window. Each documentary helmed by a unique filmmaker showcases the intersections of storytelling, pop culture, books, movies, and everything in between, and fandom within the Marvel universe. Episodes in this anthology series will cover topics including Marvel's world-spanning artists, the trailblazing women of Marvel Comics, discovering the forgotten characters of Marvel, and much more. So yeah, if you watch the trailer for it, you get like you'll see a couple conversations between some people, and they're kind of revealing what I guess in a way inspired them to do what they did, or never believing that they could even be an artist as a living. One guy thinking that he would never be able to draw Spider-Man or something, and there's also the one guy who has just a little snippet. He's like, I killed Spider-Man. So I guess he must have been either the story writer or like the artist who actually drew like the death of Spider-Man when
oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think I like this idea that obviously we have a lot of things going on for the MCU already as a whole. We have a lot of actors to follow. We have a lot of characters. People are at least I am getting used to hearing more about like directors' names, because we got the Russo brothers, we got Joss Whedon that's been part of stuff, and Kevin Feige's name is all over the place, right? So
right.
So it's nice to see that there are a lot of other people behind what is making Marvel really a thing, and kind of giving them some more exposure, and getting their look, at least this is what I assume we're going to be getting, but their perspective on what it takes to actually put all this stuff together from their end. And maybe it's going to be more, it did say movies, and I think a bit of just storytelling as a whole.
It mentions the movies as well. I think it's just trying to encompass all of Marvel into one.
Yeah. Marvel Comics, Marvel Universe, artists. Yeah, so I think it's going to be cool to see in that light, what people have been doing more so behind the scenes to create these characters, and why and how they got there. So yeah, so that's what this show supposedly will be about.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
that'd be fun to watch. Just a little snippet into the lives of the people that make Marvel.
Yeah, they make it marvelous.
Yeah. In other news, in video game news, we've got Cyberpunk, which just recently I just found out got delayed again to December 10th.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, that's the reason why that's big news to anybody who doesn't know, is that Cyberpunk has been delayed already a few times, and most recently the creators came out saying, okay, we promise, no more delays. And then unfortunately it got delayed again to December 10th. I honestly think this is one of those moments where if you're a creator, I feel like you should just not say your game is coming out until you feel like it's done.
Yeah.
Like, I always talk about id Software and how much I like id Software, but they had a quote for a long time when people would ask, when's your game coming out? And they would just say, it's done when it's done. And in this time of release dates and people constantly waiting for that date and then just getting it ripped out from under them, I just feel like that's what you got to say as a developer. Just, it's done when it's done. Like, because it's obviously going to be done later for a specific reason to make it a better game, obviously,
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, every time it comes out later, it's going to be a better game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Now that they said December 10th, I just feel like, is that even the right
exactly
thing? Like,
yeah.
Would you rather just do next year? Would you rather just say, you know what, guys, sorry, we're gonna keep working on it, and then we'll let you know, like, a month before it releases that it's gone gold and we're actually putting it to the stores.
Yeah, or we're just going to scrap this game altogether, start working on a new one, because we are just not happy with not meeting these dates. But I think I did talk about this before in a previous topic or segment, but that I feel like it's sort of a tech industry thing. So I'm compartment, or I'm doing like an umbrella category for like video games within like electronics and tech. But I remember having a conversation with somebody who worked for whatever phone retailer, and they were saying that it just became a thing that carriers or the companies would release their phones or even other like electronics not ready.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I guess it was like sort of like a marketing thing, because like they just wanted to have a time or like a date where people could expect it, and that way they get them on board ahead of time, and like they want to make sure that they're lining up their customers to get ready for their purchase.
Right.
And yeah, those companies that were making whatever those products were, they didn't aim to make it like perfect and complete by that timeline, just usable, because they already had the intention of just like sending updates afterwards, right? So the intention would be, we're just going to release it so it's in their hands, and then eventually over time it's going to get better and better and better, and then the customers will be happy because they got it earlier, and then they got to still play it and enjoy it, and then now they eventually still get like this product that they've been wanting this whole time. So yeah, I don't know if that really was an actual trend. It did kind of seem that way to me, because yeah, like phones, I feel like it's the biggest example. You get a phone and then you immediately have to update it, and you have to update it again later. I think every single Switch or PS4 game that I can recall, I've had to update the minute that I put it into the console.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
That just seems like that's a
day one patches. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of it is supposed to be because it also has to suit, like the software has to suit the hardware. So that's why, because like the hardware is released way before the software, so everything has to be updated to be compatible. But at the same time, actually, sorry to veer off again, but I was listening to the Weekly Planet, and yeah, those guys were saying something like, I miss the days where I could just pop in a CD into my PlayStation console and it just plays, it just works. And I'm like, yeah, like Super Nintendo, just pop it in. Might have to blow it a couple times, but otherwise you put it in and it's going to work. You don't have to wait for updates. So yeah.
These day one patches, they cause like a whole atmosphere of developers where it incentivizes the wrong attitude for marketing. Actually, I shouldn't blame the developers. It's more a marketing problem. But what it does is, say the Avengers game that came out fairly recently. The Avengers game came out with some levels and the idea of a game, really. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the full game. It was, if you buy this game now, it's going to have many updates later on, and it's going to add to it later. But you're paying full price for it right now, but there's more of a game coming down the road. And the problem with that is if they don't get a big enough fan base, there's no more incentive to build more of the game. So then the fans get a Diet Coke version of their product, and then
they add sugar
they're
later.
They're told they're going to get the actual product.
Yeah.
But since not enough fans wanted Diet Coke in the first place, they eventually just give up on Diet Coke and Coke altogether, you know?
Yeah.
So then all the people that paid for it, they just got swindled into nothing, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like the developers are counting on their customers to make an investment as opposed to making a purchase.
Exactly. Now, a lot of games have tried and made this formula work for them. So again, id Software making the first Doom game, that was word of mouth. They made it through shareware, and it was a free version of the game, and they would just put it on floppy disks and give it out to everybody they can, or send it through the network for people to download at home and play. It was a free version, and then at the end it asked if you wanted to buy the full game, and if you bought the full game, then you would get the full game sent to you. And that model worked like crazy. More people had Doom on their Windows operating system than Windows itself. Like more people had the Doom disk installed on their computer than Windows. And then Minecraft is another really good example, where there was a $15 game with Minecraft saying that in the future it'll be $30, but right now it's $15. And it's going to be $15 until we're at a place where we can call it a full game. But if you like it, pay the $15, and if you don't like it, wait until it's $30 and see if you like it then, you know?
Yeah.
And that worked so well for Minecraft. Obviously, it's really popular and huge these days. But again, it was a smaller price for that thing. So then these major AAA companies are thinking, well, can we do the same thing? Can we do a little bit of a game and test it out and have people pay for it and see if it works? And if it's a hit, then we can just put all of our development process into it. And sometimes it works. Destiny was a good one that worked. The Division was a good one that I worked. Those aren't to the full extent of something like Avengers, but sometimes this formula works, and most times, unfortunately, fans get burned, and we have these day one patches that are frustrating. And like you said, it hits the phone industry, it hits the video game industry, and I think lately it's actually hitting the movie industry, where movies like Justice League, I should say, and Suicide Squad, where like later after the fact, the fans almost didn't get the movie they wanted, so they're now saying we want a different movie, and then the studios are going back to make the movie. They're investing now into where the fans' interest is instead of making what they actually want to make. So it's very interesting.
I'm just picturing like the whole update sequence. Like, okay, you go to a theater to watch a movie, and then while you're there, you have to buffer. You have to download the patch. I'm like, okay, this software, this movie file has to fit the parameters of this screen. So just download the patch first. Okay, now you can watch it. I mean, that's
can you imagine
extreme,
Justice League releases on Blu-ray in a future, let's say. Justice League releases on Blu-ray, and people watching it suddenly don't like the ending. You know, they don't like... And that's kind of what happened with Justice League, but let's just say that happens. And they don't like the ending. So then Warner Brothers comes out and refilms a different ending, and then they send out the patch. And then the next time you put in your Justice League movie, it says, oh, there's an update. Yeah. And you go, oh, interesting, right? And you update, and now there's a new ending. And you go, oh, it's a great film now.
Jeez.
And then you buy the next movie, Suicide Squad, and you put the disc in, and immediately at the very beginning, there's a day one patch. Yeah. And you go, interesting. What was this movie before that?
Yeah, you know? No, you're not even sure. Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing like the trailer.
I feel like that's where we're going with this, and it's a joke right now, but I mean, it's in a sense that's actually how a lot of movies I think are getting made these days. Again, they're steering their attention to where the audience is focused instead of what might be the right direction.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating.
Interesting. Okay. Well, now that we're talking about movies a little bit, my next bit of news is movie related. So it has to do with Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah. So they finished filming, and it will be released in approximately 9 months, I believe. So I guess there's an actual... I don't know if they had a date beforehand. The Shang-Chi movie release date. I should have looked this up beforehand, but July 9th, 2021. Oh, that's...
Ooh.
Yeah, that is 9 months away. Yeah, so the main actor, I guess, what is his name? It's not Shang-Chi. It is
That'd be coincidental.
Simu Liu.
Simu
so yeah, I
Liu.
think he tweeted just after they wrapped, like him and the rest of the cast, just saying like that's a wrap, and looking forward to seeing all you guys in 9 months for something that is going to be, I think, like a history-breaking, all Asian cast, all Asian everything, Asian invasion movie, and yeah,
all Asian everything.
So yeah. Yeah, so that's coming on. That's nice to know that, you know, we MCU still has some thing, like production is moving forward still, like, you know, things aren't at a complete halt.
Right.
And as a fan, you know, you have something to look forward to, which is good. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's what it is.
It sounds like Sonic.
Because
Sonic and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, it totally does. Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, so there's that, and then let's see, and also kind of veering off but still Disney related, so there's a whole bunch of Star Wars game sales going on right now, and I think it's because the Mandalorian's coming out in the next couple
there's
days.
also that new Star Wars Starfighter game that came out too.
Squadrons?
So. Yeah, that's it, Squadrons.
So apparently that's already on sale, discounted like quite a bit.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's because like it's just not doing that well, or just some sort of like weird marketing tactic, but here.
Well, I have no idea if it's doing well or not, and I'm not speaking about this game really in particular, but the Star Wars like ship fighter games, I don't really know how to say that, like the Squadron like games, I've always really liked them. I really liked them on PlayStation 2. I used to rent them all the time, and I had a lot of fun with them, and we've talked about many times in the podcast here, but I really enjoy the old arcade Star Wars game that was just a starfighter kind of game. Yeah. And I've always kind of liked that formula for Star Wars, but the games, in my opinion, have never really been reviewed all that well, and they're not super well known either, so maybe it's just one of these genres that never really does all that well, but the fans that do like it really like it, so I'm still glad that they're made, but maybe it's just never a big, hard-hitting game like Battlefront, for example.
Yeah. Which I guess is like completely different from the rest of the platformer games, because that...
Yeah.
Battlefront also went to consoles, but that was like MMO, wasn't it? Or like Battle Arena kind of thing, like giant.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas all the other games are more like story driven, following some sort of era within the Star Wars universe, like the Old Republic or stuff like that.
Which I think people are really wanting, that more story driven Star Wars games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think many people are wanting to reenact. Not that they're terrible movies, but I don't think there's a lot of people really wanting to reenact the newer trilogy. I think people are kind of just wanting their own unique Star Wars storyline, and I think Mandalorian says a lot about that.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that, like, when I think back to how people were really into So yeah, Knights of the Old Republic, I know people were really into. The Force Unleashed, people were really into, and Jedi Fallen Order, like the one that I played, like I really enjoyed that one. And yeah, they're all that I know of. Well, at least Force Unleashed and Jedi Fallen Order follow characters that are not in the movies. And as far as Knights of the Old Republic go, I don't know, but yeah, like it's not following the exact same stories that I know of as the movies. So yeah, I can see why the fan base is there.
Yeah.
And I guess because there's just so much discrepancy with the movies too. You know, people, it's like there's a different set of group of people who like the prequel trilogy, and then the sequel trilogy, and then whatever other trilogy you would call it, prequel, sequel, and original
trilogy. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, right. So I guess because of that, like I suspect that a lot of the fans that are separated that way are also the ones who would separate themselves from the games for similar reasons, but
yeah,
maybe not. But yeah, if you go to StarWars.com, there are tons of Star Wars games that are on sale. Even
I'm looking at them.
Like the Lego Star Wars games.
Oh, those are good games. I really like the Lego Star Wars games. They're fun.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about Lego games. I don't know why, but they just seem like they are done really well.
I can't speak for the other ones as much, but Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is one of the best games ever, and I'm not saying that lightly. Like it's a very, very good game. There's so many characters to play as. It's got like actual decent humor in it, decent to good, I should say, and just fun gameplay.
Okay.
It knows its movies that it's portraying, and it's just fun. So it's only the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, but it's great.
I should try that. So it's 75% off right now on Xbox as well as Steam, GOG, Humble, and Origin if you're going to play on PC. So
it's really good to play with a friend. So I'd keep in mind trying to play like multiplayer on that. I mean, it's an older game now. I used to play that on PS2.
Okay.
Saga. Or no, actually that might have been PS3. Actually, now that I think about it, but it was good. It was really
because it's available on Xbox. It doesn't say. Yeah, so it must have been maybe PS3. But anyway, so that's also part of the countdown, I guess, to The Mandalorian, which is coming out this Friday. Is it not?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Less than 2 days. Oh my god, that's actually the day this releases. Mandalorian!
Yeah. Are you going to watch it right away?
Yeah, probably. My fiance and I'll probably watch it that night. Or if we don't watch it that night, we'll watch it on maybe the Sunday night or so.
Okay.
But yeah.
Try as best as I'll be so tempted to watch it right away, but at the same time wait until everything's released so I can just watch it at one go.
That's true.
But then
it might be better to do that.
I'm worried about spoilers. This is the kind of show where I would be worried about spoilers, I think.
That's a good point, yeah, and spoilers will be everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you should try to keep up with it when you can.
Yeah.
It's up to you though.
I'm gonna have to just turn off my internet other than just I'll have to download the episode and not look at anything and then just turn the internet off and just watch it offline. So I got a couple more things, but how about you? Want to go with yours?
I've only got one more news, and it's kind of more, it's not personal news, but it's just my experience, I guess, with this. But it's so Doom Eternal Ancient Gods came out. The DLC I've been talking about for a while. Mm-hmm. And it is
destroying you.
It's interesting. Yeah, it is. It really is. It's interesting because it's actually only 3 extra levels added to the game.
Okay.
So that's on paper, it doesn't sound like much. It's 3 extra levels and a side story from the game's main quest. But playing it is insane. I've only got through, I guess, maybe half of it so far. Maybe.
So 1.5
I'm not
levels.
sure. Pretty much. That's where I'm at, what I think is 1.5 levels, but it's really hard to tell. The levels are incredibly long.
So yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How do you, what would be the overall length of one level?
Well, it's weird. Doom Eternal levels are already longer than what Doom 2016's levels were.
Okay.
So a level in this game, in Doom Eternal at least, the game's levels would normally take you to multiple locations within one level.
Uh-huh.
And so you're changing up your scenery quite a bit.
Yeah.
But in this DLC though, it does it even more. It's even longer than Doom Eternal's levels. So it's, I don't know, it's really hard to describe it. It's really crazy. There's so many different fight scenes. And that's the other thing too. In Doom Eternal, there was more breaks, I think, between combat zones.
Okay.
Where there might be long hallways or stuff like this. But man, Doom Eternal Ancient Gods, it is constantly barraging you with just enemy after enemy after enemy, and it's just starting like a bunch of really funny memes because it's very, very hard. I normally, like, I beat Doom Eternal on Ultra Violence, which is kind of the hard difficulty, and then there's Nightmare, which is very hard.
Yeah.
So I can't beat Nightmare, but I did Ultra Violence for Doom Eternal, and that was a feat in itself. And by the time I finished that game, I was so proud that I was able to finish that on Ultra Nightmare.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ultra Violence.
Okay, yeah.
Then Ancient Gods, I made it through maybe half of the first level on Ultra Violence, and it was tough, but it was fun. So I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
Then there's one specific moment where everything just got so hard, and I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried and I just kept failing, and it was so tough. And I was like, it was harder than like the last level of the original game, and I was like, this is insane. Like, so you're playing the game, and literally like new monsters will spawn, and the ones they'll throw at you are kind of like this kind of boss monsters that you're fighting as well as the regular monsters. And like you'll just look over to your left and you'll see like a boss monster, and you're like, okay, but then you'll look over to your right and you'll see like another one, and you're like, oh my god, like, can you just give me a break for a second? And then you'll kill them, and then there's another monster who will resurrect monsters and will resurrect them back. And you're just standing there like, are you kidding me? So many times I'm in the middle of a battle, I'm just swinging around, shooting this guy, swinging around, shooting that guy, and then I realize that like everything is just so much worse. Like the whole battlefield just changes on a dime, and you're just like, oh my god. So anyways, I had to bring it down on a difficulty level, which I've never had to do on Doom Eternal yet. And so I did that, and then beat the whole first level, and it was amazing. Like, I loved it. It was so good. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
On just the first level alone, this DLC would have been just great. It's also fairly cheap. It was like $20. So for all this, I'm really happy with it.
Okay. Nice.
But then I got into the second level, and oh my god, the difficulty level just like, it ramped up even further for the second level now. So I'm halfway through the second level, and I'm struggling at a part now, and I'm playing on technically the medium difficulty now. And I'm struggling at this one part, and I can't believe
You're getting your workout.
Yeah, from what I can see from people online, I'm not the only one who's saying this. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like mad at themselves for having to drop down a difficulty level. But then everyone else online is saying like it gets worse. Like, so I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how much more I can take. They've added a new villain that kind of hides in the other enemies. So so while you're fighting an enemy, this other villain, like it's like a ghost, and it like transfers into one of the other characters on the screen. And when it does that, it buffs those characters, so they're really, really hard to beat. And every single demon in the game has a weakness.
Yeah.
So you can defeat them if you're tactical, I guess, and you can find a smart way around them. But since this enemy goes into these demons, it actually makes it so they have no weakness anymore, so you can't use the weakness against them. And it buffs them so they're faster, and it buffs their health, so they're way more health, and they do more damage.
Yeah.
So you're constantly like, oh my god. So what you have to do is you have to kill that demon, and as soon as you do, the ghost apparition thing comes out onto the battlefield. Then you've got maybe 8 seconds to kill it. And if you don't, it'll go into another demon. And it just keeps going over and over and over again into more and more and more demons. So you can have a moment where you just have to constantly keep fighting all these buffed things if you don't kill it in time. But the way to kill it is by switching to one specific gun that has this very Ghostbuster-like ray that shoots out onto the spirit. And then it blows it up. But the thing is, to do that, you have to hold down the gun and point your gun at it very specifically and stand still. Well, standing still in Doom is like a death. So it's insane. So you got to stand still for about 8 seconds, take all the damage that you can from all the other enemies so you can blow up the stupid thing so it doesn't make other demons just totally destroy you.
Wow. Holy. Okay,
and
so the Marauder doesn't come back in these levels, does he?
Yeah. So this is not a spoiler because in the trailers, the Marauder is, obviously I've gone into the Marauder before and how crazy he is, but in the trailers, they showed this off. But in the first level, they have this huge battlefield and you're fighting all these crazy demons. And in the middle of it, there's a moment where it kind of pauses and these 2 portals open up and 2 Marauders come out. And you're suddenly just fighting all these demons and 2 Marauders. It's just nuts.
I think I would just turn my game off.
I've already rage quit 3 times.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's rough, but the thing is, when you beat it though, it's so satisfying, and like it's kind of like a fun torture, you know. It's sadistic, but it's like you feel the developers like laughing on their side, like, and I don't know. It's fun. It's very, very fun.
Well,
I have no complaints about this DLC at all, but it is so hard. I love it.
I think
it's hard.
It's an interesting notion, just to say that like you're having so much fun even with a game that's giving you so much like kind of stress in a way. And I think because I go through that too, right? When I play League of Legends, it's different because like the stress that we go through is based on how other people are playing it, not what the developers are doing to us.
That's true,
right?
Yeah.
But
so it fluctuates a lot.
It fluctuates, yeah, because like you're playing with different levels and different comps every time. So each match you play is completely unique from the next. Like I think it's pretty much next to impossible to ever get the exact same kind of match more than once. And I'm speaking in terms of like the variabilities of your teammates' levels, the enemy team's levels, and then also like the choice of champions that everybody makes, right? So a lot of variables. But anyway, so point is that sometimes with that game, like it can also feel very stressful, not unlike what you're talking about, because you're obviously having fun still playing the game, being able to use like your skill and your knowledge and feeling that sense of accomplishment sometimes, but at the same time it can be so difficult, and it's like you're trying to rise to the occasion, right? Like you're just trying to overcome the challenge. Sometimes the challenge in and of itself is actually really exciting because it's like, oh, there's something that I can conquer. It's better than me. That means if I beat it, I'm better than it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, and in a way that's almost like the natural mentality of a video game, because the premise is like you always want to beat it, right? You always want to finish the game or beat it in the way that it's meant to be beat. So I just find it's interesting that it's so interesting to hear how stressed you are, and I so badly wish I could watch you stream playing this because
it's hilarious, man. Like
I can't picture you that way, but that better be fun.
I'm like this. I'm like getting all crazy.
Yeah,
and
going all red and like getting all clenched.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's good, and yeah, you're right. It motivates me to want to play the game again, but on Ultra Violence again. After I know what's coming, go back to Ultra Violence and beat it again on Ultra Violence, because then. For my own sanity, I feel like I have to be able to beat it on that difficulty.
Yeah.
Because that's how I beat Doom Eternal, so it needs to go that way.
Yeah.
But what's really killing me is this is part 1. There's another DLC after this. It's like, oh god.
Oh, there's more.
There's gonna be more later.
What's this one called? Ancient God or
Ancient Gods? Yeah.
Ancient Gods, and then the next one would be like.
Well, it'll be Ancient Gods Part 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Or most likely, I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Man, well, good
Anyways,
luck.
that's all my news. Thank you.
So then also gaming related, and also relating to League of Legends. So there's some big news in for the NA team TSM, so Team Solo Mid. Their main mid laning champion or player is retiring. So they just finished their run in Worlds. So Worlds is still running right now. Right. I think we're at quarterfinals or semifinals or something, but. So TSM, they pretty much, I don't even think they made it through like the group stages. I think they went 0-6, and then they
made it through the group stages.
So they were just done. So for whatever reason, they just weren't able to pull through a win at all, and so that just ended their season for the year. And so Bjergsen, so Soren Berg, he goes by Bjergsen. He's been their mid laner for 6 years, and he's been playing League for 8 years. So.
Wow.
I think he originally played in Denmark, and he was saying that he...
With a name like Bjergsen.
Yeah, well, I think, Bjergsen is the gaming name, but when he was playing in high school, I think he was saying, like, he got bullied a lot or something, and League was sort of his escape, and then eventually became this thing where he was actually really good and was able to make something out of it. So I enjoyed watching him play. I think in terms of North American players, he's probably one of my favorites, and he was always the most consistent. And also he seemed kind of like one of the most kind of like actually nice guys. Like you can tell when people are doing their interviews, like people will not hold back from trash talking if they want to, and they'll just say whatever. Like that's kind of just like a gamer mentality. But I find like he was never really that kind of guy. So for me to like watch him, it was like, okay, that's nice. I can kind of relate to him because I don't like to trash talk.
Right.
But anyway, he's also a solid player, and so he unfortunately never got to have any kind of World's Championship, but he did the IEM. He is an IEM, so Intel Extreme Masters champion, He was in like LCS All Stars, I think like 4 times. And he's been to Worlds several times. Like he's gone with his team to Worlds several times. So,
cool.
Even though he didn't have like the big W, he I think he still leaves behind like a pretty cool legacy, and he's moving into a head coach role. So
nice, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say what happens when you go from playing to coaching, because it's a completely different realm. But he said it himself, like he's not going to be perfect right off the bat. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but I think he intends to put in that same amount of effort that he did as a player into his coaching. So I'm interested.
That's awesome.
I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with TSM when he goes into that coaching role, but also who are they getting to replace him in that mid lane, because while you can't say like every lane is crucial because it's really what the team does, but the mid lane is one of the carry roles, so you're one of the biggest damage dealing roles. So your team will generally rely on you to make sure that you like blow up some of the other like the other enemy team, or just damage them enough, or help you get objectives because you do all the damage. So it's a pretty, I'd say his shoes are pretty big ones to fill. And I don't know if there's any news on who's going to be taking a spot yet, or any prospects, but yeah, looking forward to see what that's going to look like for TSM going into the future. So yeah.
With a name like Team Solo Mid, it sounds like the mid position is really important.
I can't remember why that name was like how
it makes it sound like the whole team is just the guy in the middle of the team doing the mid lane.
Well, actually, it's funny that he mentioned that. I think the guy that he took over was the previous like captain or like franchise owner, or he is the current franchise owner.
Oh, interesting.
And he was also like, I think he was probably one of the best players on the team, and he happened to be the mid player as well. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the case. So maybe they tend to revolve around that as a concept, but I don't really know for sure. And then, my last bit of news is Netflix has confirmed that they are going to do the live-action Assassin's Creed series thing.
Oh, weird. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, so apparently it's already in development. And I don't know about any other news. Is it going to be Michael Fassbender? I don't know if it's going to be Michael Fassbender in this. I don't really know any of the details about this at all, but
probably because The Witcher did well, so they're going to copy the Witcher formula and make it pretty close to the Assassin's Creed game storyline, but maybe a little bit different.
Yeah, I guess very, very possibly. Is he?
I wonder if they're going to go into the Desmond route with Assassin's Creed, like actually follow the Desmond storyline.
So is Desmond was Michael Fassbender Desmond?
I don't know. I didn't see the Michael Fassbender film, but Desmond Miles is the character who is in modern time, who then goes back in time to go to his ancestor Altair.
Okay.
In the first Assassin's Creed, at least.
Yeah.
And then in Assassin's Creed 2, Desmond goes into whatever Ezio and stuff like that. So like some of the other Assassin's Creed characters. So Desmond was like the guy. So I don't know. We'll see.
Is it always Desmond on all of the franchises?
No. The third one is the last game to have Desmond in it.
Okay.
Then they kind of branched off into their own stuff after that.
So after that was like Origins and then Odyssey. Oh no, Origins was still Desmond, but then Odyssey maybe was without him? Like when it's like the Roman one or whatever?
Origins is still him. 3 is the last one. Then Black Flag is the first one without him. And then there's like Rogue. And then there's the Paris one. Then there's Syndicate. There's a lot of Assassin's Creed. Yeah. There's like Liberation. There's a bunch of other ones too. Freedom Cry.
But they're all generally kind of revolving around the same idea, though. Like somebody's going back in time.
Going into ancestral history, yeah. But they stopped the whole Desmond thing after a while. I guess the narrative, some people just didn't connect to it. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so that's in development. I don't know any other details, but it's happening.
Cool.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, it's all I can see online right now, too. So.
Okay, well, that's my news.
That's the news.
Yeah.
So, Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
All Hallows Eve.
Yep. So what have we done in the past? I think we've talked about like movies that we would watch, or candy we would eat.
Yeah, like events and stuff.
Yeah. So I did manage to look up some. I was really curious about some costume ideas, because like I always want to put together something kind of cool or innovative, or just like.
I feel like there's COVID stuff related this year. There's probably a lot of COVID costumes out there.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I know my fiance sent a photo of someone's house where There's all these skeletons on the lawn. And like one was like a COVID patient that was like dying or something like that.
Oh
and
no.
There was one on the rooftop, which was a shopping cart, and it was a skeleton mom holding a skeleton baby, and the shopping cart was full of toilet paper. And they were trying to escape the house.
Oh man. I mean, I guess it's okay. So I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, like, first thoughts, like, yeah, it sounds funny. But at the same time, like, I know COVID affects people, like, really, really badly. So
yeah, like COVID is obviously a real thing.
Should we be laughing about this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, that's a good point. I guess, yeah, a lot of people, I'm just seeing, like, pumpkins with masks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was looking up some... Oh, right, I was going to tell you about your idea, or the idea for Kova.
Oh, yeah.
So... The reason why this came up was because so I've been trying to find just some ideas for costumes, but like I like to do more like DIY stuff. I don't want to go out and just buy a full costume. I feel like it's like cheating. Like I think part of the fun is like trying to figure out how you can mimic this thing by like with the resources that you have and stuff like that, right? So anyway, I found a couple pictures of people doing like using 3D printers to make costumes.
What?
And so unfortunately for the audience, you're just gonna have to go by my description, but you can also look this up when you get the chance.
Oh my gosh.
So somebody 3D printed the Cubone skull and put it on their pet corgi and makes it look completely like a Cubone, and it's so cute.
That's adorable. And
like...
Cubone is one of my fiance's favorite Pokemon too.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah, that's so cute. I'm sending her the link.
Nice. So, yeah, it makes me want to have a corgi so that I can do this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's
It would work well with my dog too, I think.
Yeah, I think it would too. Yeah, based on like your dog's like size and shape.
The coloring of this corgi is very similar to my dog, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why I thought of you like as soon as I saw it.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah, so 3D printed stuff. 3D printed stuff, I guess, is like a big thing. I never would have thought that because I always figured like 3D printed stuff would be like if you want to wear a full costume that it would be so stiff and like not breathable. But I mean something like this, like a simple mask, like, and this mask looks really good. This skull.
Yeah, it's very accurate.
Yeah,
but it's like I like how it's simplistic too, so it makes it cartoony at the same time.
Yeah, it does. It still looks a bit cartoony, but not so much that you think like it's meant to be a cartoon. I think in a way. So yeah, it looks cool. And then let's see. So what was I? Oh, and I wanted to look into, just in general, like people who like make functional costumes.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know if you. This is less about a functional costume and more so just like making the situation kind of look more accurate. But so I'm gonna send you a GIF of this is actually a little bit old, but so somebody made a Goku costume, and this is years ago. But they're standing on Nimbus. But their Nimbus is probably like some
I've
sort
seen
of
this.
like,
Yeah.
So it's either one of those like
an RC car or something. Yeah.
Either that, or I mean, nowadays you could probably use one of those. What do they call them? Like.
Oh, those skateboards almost, but they're horizontal.
Yeah, I feel like just like hover. They call them hoverboards or something, but they're not hoverboards.
Hover blades.
Hover wheels and.
I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
But yeah, for some reason they call them hoverboards. I guess because. You're not standing on the ground. But anyway, so I mean like you can technically
so
just do that. So which is kind of like it's a good idea. It's great. Like you hide the whole board with your cloud, your puffy yellow cloud. Yeah. So that's one. And then I was I mean I could go on forever with this, but
I love the idea of the functional costumes thing. It's so cool.
So I really like this idea because so I've seen people do functionally transforming like transformer costumes.
Holy smokes.
But like where those ones like they take like you have to actually like move different parts at different times for it to like work together, and it actually makes it look like it's transforming. But so this dad he said he saw some examples online, and he made Optimus Prime, Starscream, Bumblebee, like the Camaro Bumblebee, and I can't remember who the other, like, the darker version of Starscream is, but these ones are like, they're really well done, but they're so simple. Like, all you do is just
so simple.
Like, you lay down, you tuck your head in, and you're already in, like, that truck costume. But it kind of, like, it works on these hinges so that, like, as soon as you stand up, it just kind of transforms on its own. Like, you don't have to do the work. So this one is just like, it's ready to transform as you move, kind of thing, and it's just very simple transforming. So
wow.
I thought, like, that's really cool. One, it's really cool that his dad made it for his kids. Two, it's really cool that they're so simple. They're not so, like, over the top that